Hey guys, today's video is about Eonon, and this is their 2022 flagship head unit, which has a fully tiltable screen. So the first question is probably going to be, who is Eonon? Well, I can tell you many years ago, Eonon was my first ever Android head unit. So these guys have been around for quite a long time. Now this one is the Q03Pro, which is the flagship model for 2022. And it has 3 GB of RAM and a 720p 10.1 inch display on a tiltable mount. It's going to be quite interesting. Now remember, I do not get paid to endorse any company or products, so my review is going to be completely based on my own experience of using this product. Right, let's get it out of the box. And here it is. Now this actually feels like a pretty good quality unit, and it's also the only one that I've ever seen which actually gets shipped with the screen actually mounted to the main unit when it is in actual fact detachable. You can see on the back here that there are actually detachable arms so that you can remove the screen from this unit if you needed to do that. It has the same kind of mechanism than the Pumpkin units that I've reviewed, but the screen is completely tiltable. Pretty standard stuff on the face here. You have capacitive touch buttons on the left hand side, along with a microphone and a reset button. And on the back here we have an antenna, a GPS antenna input, a 4G antenna input, the main loom input here, and then we've got the other connections which I will go to in a minute. Also in the box we have an external microphone, a 4G antenna, an ISO loom, another USB port, a reverse camera input, a loom which has video and audio in, an amp trigger wire, an external mic input, and front left and right RCA outputs, and a subwoofer RCA output. And this also has a SIM card for the 4G as well. And then we have a separate loom which has the rear left and right pre-outs. So we have 5 total pre-outs, front left right, rear left and right, and a subwoofer. And this loom also has CAN bus wires, CAN TX and CAN RX. Now this is significant because it means that this head unit is going to be capable of advanced CAN bus integration, and that means that you're going to be able to control things like climate control and other intricate car features from the actual touchscreen itself. So that will be interesting to play with a bit later. And finally, a GPS antenna. Right, I'm pretty excited to go and get this set up, so let's go into the car now and check it out. And here it is installed in my Saab 9-3. Now straight away I can tell you it is a real benefit to actually have the screen tilted towards me, the driver, which is what the arm on this head unit actually allows, and that is a rarity amongst these head units, so that's really nice. It is a pretty sleek looking unit, and I can tell you that they've actually included a screen protector on it as well. Right, let's see how long it takes to switch on. Ignition on now. There we go. So a couple of seconds and it's on and ready to go. So this is the launcher from factory, and it does look pretty stylish. So up here you have a navigation widget which you just tap and it opens Google Maps. Up here you have a clock, and if you tap that it takes you to the clock settings. You have your selection of apps that you're most going to use on the dashboard here as well. This is one of the things that I really look for with launcher software, so that's great. Then we have the music widget down here, which will allow you to play music which is installed locally or from a USB memory stick. And then of course you have the radio widget down here, and I'll just tap this and show you what the radio looks like. One thing that I like about the radio is that the RDS functionality is there, so you actually see the radio station names and not just the frequencies, which is a problem with some Android radios. So that's great as well. Now on the left hand side of this you see that there's some buttons here as well, and this is kind of pointless because the first one is the radio, which obviously you have here. The second one is the music, which you have here. The third one is the navigation, which is obviously here. But you do have 2 useful icons. One is Bluetooth, and this will allow you to connect a wireless device like a mobile phone to this unit, and also allow you to play Bluetooth music and such. And finally, this icon allows you to open the apps folder so that you can access all of your apps. nice and easy. So if we open the settings now, we can see that Eonon has created this quite nice user interface which has multiple most used settings just under your fingertips, and they're very easy to navigate. Now, one of the annoying things about their menu system is that if you want to change the graphic equalizer settings, under sound settings there is nothing there to be able to do that. But other than that, it's pretty easy to use and navigate. On top of that, if we pull down from the top, we've got some additional menus. And here's where you'll find the equalizer settings. So they're not in the actual main settings, but you can find them quite easily here, and I'll show you them later. But one of the main things from this drop-down menu is the icon that says menu, will allow you to go into the theme settings. Now this app is actually here so that you can buy additional launcher themes for your Eonon unit should you want to. However, Eonon did give you 4 separate themes, and this is how you access them. So if you go to the download button up here, you'll see the 4 that are currently installed on this unit, and then the Eonon one is the active theme at the moment, and you have some of these other ones as well. But having gone through the other themes, I don't really like any of the other ones. I prefer Enon's main theme that they have on here, so we're going to leave it like that. Don't forget the benefit of an Android head unit though is that you can actually change launcher software to whatever you want. Now the screen resolution for this 10-inch display is 720p, and that's great because it gives you the additional resolution to make sure that everything stays sharp with these larger screens. And it does look good and it's bright. For example, it's a very sunny day where I am at the moment, and I can still see the screen very, very easily. I mean, it's not a QLED screen or anything fancy like that, but it still looks really, really good. So let's talk about speed. This unit has an ARM Cortex A55 1.6 GHz 8-core CPU, which is plenty fast enough to do pretty much anything that you would want to do on it. It's obviously not the fastest processor that you can get in an Android head unit, but it's still pretty nippy. This head unit also has 3 GB of memory, which is pretty good. So let's do the usual tests that we do with Waze and Spotify and see how long they take to load up. So here's Waze. Yeah, so that's still pretty fast. It's not the fastest, obviously, but there was only a few seconds, and that's plenty fast for everyday usage. Right, let's go back and have a look at Spotify. Okay, and there we go. So again, it's not the fastest of the Android head units that we've tested, but it's still plenty fast for everyday use, so that's pretty good. Obviously, the actual use of the device itself is really good. I mean, there is actually no lag whatsoever. Everything that you do on this head unit is instantaneous, so like you're not going to have any problems with speed whilst you're using it. So let's talk about features. Well, Android head unit, so you've got all the good stuff that you're normally going to get with an Android head unit. You can install the video apps that you normally wouldn't be able to do on other head units. You also have the reverse camera, which I've installed for this Eonon unit as well, plus the fact that you get wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay, which makes this a really, really great unit for those people that want to use those features. So I'm going to show you that working now. So to do it, you go to Bluetooth and you search for devices. And there's my phone, so I'm going to tap that. I'm going to click pair, and now it's connected. And now we can go into apps and into T-Link, and you can see it says connecting. And now you can see it's connected to Android Auto, and I can access all of the apps on my phone which are compatible with Android Auto, and obviously that's going to be hands-free calling, etc. as well, which is really, really good as well. Right, so now let's try Apple CarPlay. So go to Bluetooth again. We're going to search for phones, and there's Stuart's iPhone. We'll pair that up, and now it's connected. So we'll go back to apps and T-Link, and it says connecting. There's Stuart's iPhone up there, and there we go. Full Apple CarPlay with all of the apps that I can access which are compatible with CarPlay itself on my phone, which is really, really great. What more could you want? So let's talk about car integration. Well, the first thing is this is a standard doubled-in unit. So this just slid straight into the cage that it was meant to fit into, and that made this very, very easy to install in this car, which is fantastic. It also came with a standard ISO loom great, again, plug and play for the car that I have here. And then it has that amazing tilt facility, which allows the screen to be facing me, the driver. So all of that stuff is really good. The other stuff that we tend to look for is how easy it is to have resistive learning for the buttons on the steering wheel. So how you do it on here is you go into the apps, you go into steering wheel setting, and then you simply press a button on the steering wheel and then find the corresponding button that you want to assign to that button. And it's as easy as that. So this is really, really easy from that standpoint. But you can go one step further with this head unit because it does allow for integrations with certain vehicle canvas networks. And that means that you can get things like climate control appear up on the screen for particular vehicles. And the way that you would access that is by going into the settings, going to factory, and the password for this is 123456. And then up here you can hit select models. And what it's going to do is it's going to search online to make sure it has all the latest data for canvas decoders and for compatible cars. There we go. So you can choose a canvas decoder. You might have a simple soft, and then you've got 4 selections of car here: VW, Audi, Honda and Toyota. So you might have an Audi A4, and then you can hit public, and that's going to set this head unit up specifically for that car so that it's integrated with the computer of the car, and it's going to display things on the screen and allow your steering wheel controls to work all together. So that's pretty cool as well. Now I haven't got any of the cars on the list to test that functionality. It is there, and I did note that the head unit came with a specific loom with the RX-TX wires, which is what you would integrate with specific canvas decoders to make this function. One downside is that I didn't find a way to set a boot up logo from a list of specific car logos. That's not really a big deal though, because the thing boots in 2 seconds, so you wouldn't be able to see the logo anyway, so I don't think you really lose anything in that regard. So let's talk about the big subject: sound quality and control. Now there's quite an interesting thing about this head unit. If I show you the graphic equalizer, you can see that it has a 24 band graphic equalizer right there. Now that's a crazy amount of control over your audio. So what I was doing was I was sort of playing with this and trying to make this sound good, and I just couldn't do it. And I was, why is this not sounding as good as I would expect it to sound? And the reason for it is because this is not a 24 band graphic equalizer, it's a 48 band graphic equalizer. 48 bands. And this is why it wasn't sounding good, because I was trying to up the treble and the higher frequencies using the wrong side of the graphic equalizer. So you've got a whole 24 bands dedicated specifically to the lower frequency audio, and then you have another 24 bands for the higher frequency audio, and that is just a crazy amount of control over the audio in the car. And I can tell you something, it does sound amazing. You can tweak this exactly as you want it for your speakers in your car, and it will sound amazing. So if we just continue on and have a look at these tabs, so we've got surround sound, which gives us the ability to control the distances and the delays to each individual speakers, which is really cool. Zone is just a fade and balance control, and then you have a frequency cutoff here and the ability to control the gain for the subwoofer if you have one installed. Sound gives even more control over various aspects of the audio, and you have a bass boost here as well with a frequency cutoff, and then you have some additional filtering for the bass here as well. So yeah, this is a pretty cool device, and it does sound really, really good as well. Right, let's give it some scores. If there's any other head units that you'd like me to review, please let me know and I will see if I can do that. And of course, if you do like this kind of content, please do subscribe to my channel.